how much or extent to which you use certain types of assets to generate sales. The most famous one of these is, come on, I don't know why it refuses to write. Oh, we're gonna have to do it the old-fashioned way then. And we're gonna define that as cost of revenue, also known as cost of goods sold, divided by inventory. The reason we're using cost of goods sold instead of revenue or sales, remember, inventory is booked at cost, so we want to make uh, comparison apples to apples. A related one, it says days sales in inventory. It's pretty much exactly the same information. It's just a different way of looking at it. You divide 365 or number of days in your financial statements. Since I'm using 10Ks, I'm using 365. If I was using 10Qs or 3-month numbers, I would have used 91. 365 divided by inventory turnover. You can think of that as 365 times inventory divided by cost of goods sold. Whichever one is more convenient for you. The first one tells you how many times you're basically turning over your inventory during the year. The second one tells you average number of days your inventory stays in your shelves or, uh, in your warehouses. Let's look at the Walmart. Since I already have their financial statements. Where are they? Oops, that's Kroger's. Balance sheets. Uh, oh, since we're doing their cost of sales is 490, 142. Remember, we figure out cost of goods sold from income statements, inventory from balance sheets, and that's 54,892. Before I make any calculation, let me get the numbers for Kroger as well. Let me see. It's about 116,675. I don't know what that LIFO reserve is, but let's look at the FIFO inventory first in, first out. 9414. So Walmart's inventory turnover is equal to 490,142 divided by 54,892. So it's about 8.9, almost 9 times a year. Alternatively, days sales inventory 365 divided by the inventory turnover. So that means it takes Walmart on average, at least based on the end of the year number. I mean, normally, if you're doing this for analysis, you probably calculate these using quarterly numbers and average them, but for all purposes, it's good enough. It takes Walmart about 41 days to clear their inventory. Well, it depends on the kind of inventory you have, but sounds kind of long. How about Kroger? 116,675 divided by. So Kroger turns its inventory over uh, much faster, or about 12 and a half times. That immediately implies that days sales and inventory is lower, or products spend less time in Kroger shelves compared to Walmart shelves. So it takes about 30 days for product to clear out from Kroger shelves. I mean, they're not in exactly similar businesses in terms of their retail, but if I'm CEO of Walmart, I'm gonna look at, Kroger sells their stuff a lot faster. So I'm gonna basically go to my inventory manager or my sales manager, the people who does the pricing. There's some issue because that 10 days you have to fund that inventory. Okay? That inventory is not going to fund itself until you sell it. It costs you money. You have to pay whatever your funding costs on it. And trust me, in a business like retail where the margins are pretty low to begin with, that makes a difference. I mean, just to give you an idea, Walmart. Let's see. And there's about 25% gross margin or about 4% operating margin. You know, for each $100 sales Walmart makes, they get to keep only about $4 before they have to worry about interest and taxes. I don't think it's that much different for Kroger. Let's see. Let's just look at the operating margin. Oh, that is even less, 2 cents. Okay. So that's those sorts of numbers matter. You know, if your funding cost is about 6% a year, which is kind of where a company like Kroger would pay these days for short-term stuff, 10 days is 1/30th of, let's see. Eh, it's, okay, it's not that big, but still, it makes a difference.